So today I'm going to talk about three different scales. We're going to talk about the E major scale, 1 octave, the B major scale, 1 octave, and then we're going to add on a lower octave of an A major scale. So if you've watched my previous videos, you've seen that I've made an A major 1 octave scale, but if you're preparing to play a 2 octave A major scale, this is an excellent pattern for you. So we're going to start with E major. E major starts on first finger on the D string, and E major goes E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. So oftentimes this is actually the first scale or the first pattern I teach my students that involves a 4th finger in the scale. And I do that because the 3rd and 4th finger act like buddies. They get to sit right next to each other. So it's very easy to understand where your 4th finger goes. And when I teach this scale, we start with a pepperoni pizza rhythm. And this is often also a first introduction to a high 3. And what I like about it is you get a high 3 on both strings. So the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fingers sit in the same place on the D string and the A string. And on the A string, you add that 4. So this is what your E major 1 octave scale sounds like. And what I like about that scale is that it's fairly easy, and I also use my open A string on the way up and on the way down because I think it helps orient the ear a little bit. So then I take that pattern and I take it from the D and A string and I transplant it onto the A and E string, which makes B major. And B major is the exact same finger pattern, so there's a space between 1, 2, and 3. You've got the high 3rd finger on the A string and the E string, and then on the E string, you add that 4 for your highest note. So it's B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B. And if I just told those notes to the students, I think that they would get really overwhelmed by all the sharps in there. But if you learn the pattern and then apply it to the scale, then add the note names, it's a lot easier to understand that a high 3 on the A string in first position is often a D sharp, or a high 3 on the E string in first position is often an A sharp. So now I'm going to play through that B major scale using the same rhythm, pepperoni pizza, and then we're going to add that lower octave A major scale. So here's B major, 1 octave. I will say, the more advanced the students get, or the more quickly they pick up these concepts of finger patterns and notes and how to move finger patterns from one string to the next string, the more I encourage them to set their fingers in a block. So what I mean by that is on your way up, for instance, you go 1, 2, 3, you hold all 3 fingers down, you go open, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now all of my fingers are arranged in a block, essentially, and I just have to peel them off. And then when I come back to the A string, I try to put all 3 down in the correct spots. And this motion is really challenging when you're first starting the violin, and we just try to refine it as we go. So from here, all three together. And that's something I often work on, just taking those three fingers and going 1, 2, 3, plant, and putting them down all at once. Okay, so as promised, here's A major, 1 octave, but starting on first finger. So the only first finger left to start on that we haven't done so far is on the G string, which is an A. So we go A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Same finger pattern, just different notes. And then on the way down, we try to block, put them all down on the G string at the same time. So here's A major, the first octave. And then, if you're really feeling bold, we're going to put it all together to form an A major 2-octave scale. And a 2-octave A major scale combines 2 finger patterns. It combines the one we're working on right now with the high 3s, and also the one that starts on an open string. It's the first one I teach. You can watch my previous videos where 2 and 3 sit next to each other. So we're going from kind of this pattern to this pattern. Oh my gosh, I can't even do it. Okay? So here is A major 1 octave, starting on the G string. And now I'm going to put an A major 2-octave scale together, combining 2 separate finger patterns. So here I go. That's A, E, and B major.